Okay, everyone, 2 new filings in Don Lemon's criminal case, and these filings are strange. Now, the evidence disclosed in the filings purports to show co-defendant Georgia Fort's side of the story, and if that's her story, she'll probably be convicted. Like Don Lemon, Georgia Fort claims she was just at City's Church as a journalist, not a protester. The disclosures this week seem frantic on her side. If I had to guess what's going on behind the scenes, Georgia Fort and her team are frantic. She does not want to be convicted. And yet, this week, her attorneys goofed again. Not a fatal goof, I would say. If the defense attorneys are going to be goofy in a non-fatal manner, now would be the time, rather than when they get in front of the jury. Now, the trial of this case won't be televised because it's a federal case. There are pilot programs in some federal courts for video, but Minnesota isn't in the pilot program. I guess that could change before the trial, and we may get audio for transparency, but probably not video. Now, even in televised trials in the state courts, cameras are pointed away from the jury, although the presence of cameras probably keeps the jurors more attentive, theoretically. In any event, the new disclosures. About 2 weeks ago, the government obtained the court's permission to voluntarily disclose 2 lines of grand jury testimony from a witness. The government said at the outset that the testimony was Brady material, which is exculpatory or exonerating material. Now, the government, in every case, has the obligation to produce Brady material. A guilty verdict can be overturned if the Brady obligation is violated, which is why the government might overdisclose, and that's the case here. Now, the government said the DOJ Civil Rights Division, which was brought in to lead the prosecution, said it would voluntarily disclose 2 lines from the transcript of a grand jury witness's testimony. But the government here disclosed more than just 2 lines from the transcript, and instead of just disclosing the transcript in camera to the judge in chambers, here the government filed the testimony under seal, which gave access to the defense as well, on the supposition that it's Brady material, which the defense has the right to obtain. Now, Georgia Fort's defense went on to immediately disclose the testimony on the public record, and in my view, after examining it, to call it Brady is a stretch. It does not exonerate Georgia Fort. So it's an example of the government over-disclosing to protect future verdicts, which probably will be guilty verdicts. Let's go to the transcript. Now, the witness testified about, quote, one woman who had a microphone that had an emblem on it like it was, some type of TV or station, unquote, and that's probably Georgia Fort. Asked whether he felt physically threatened by the woman, Miss Fort. He testified. The witness testified, quote, all the cameras were there. I did not expect for those people who were interviewing to had bad behavior because they're videoing, so I did not feel in that moment. They were redacted. The biggest issue with that was not my personal safety. It was the fact that they were blocking my view from seeing the rest of the church, unquote. Now, Georgia Fort's defense attorneys say that he quickly reiterated that he, quote, didn't feel physically threatened by redacted. Then Georgia Fort's defense attorneys say that in describing the incident involving the van, the only conduct the witness described was attributed to a male. Okay, so we all watched that conduct attributed to the male. William Kelly, a.k.a. Doe Oak Farmer. Now, remember how he yelled at the little girl in the van and she slammed the van door shut in his face? Then Georgia Fort's defense attorney says that the witness testified that the van was able to leave without issue? No, the witness testified, quote, she trepidatiously makes her way out with some help of directing traffic and then she leaves. She was able to ride in the alley, then ride on Snelling and was able to get away, unquote. Now, trepidatiously driving out with some help of directing traffic and was able to get away are not without incident. And we all watched that incident with the van on video. Those videos were shown to the grand jury, presumably. The indictment against the 38 defendants wasn't just predicated on the testimony of this one witness. Other witnesses could have testified about Georgia Fort's conduct as well. The government disclosed just this one witness's testimony as potential Brady material because he testified that he didn't feel physically threatened by Georgia Fort. So this transcript of testimony seems to have been released under Brady to cover the government's bases, but it's not all that Brady, in my view. And the witness said, despite not feeling physically threatened by Georgia Ford, he said, quote, "I did not expect for those people who were interviewing to had bad behavior," unquote. So the witness saw that they were behaving badly, as we all did. And this new filing from Georgia Ford's defense discloses something that I hadn't seen on the video. Now, what we all watched was Don Lemon cornering the pastor, asking obnoxious questions, which should not be done with a pastor. That was just wrong. Now, the new filing discloses that while this interview was going on, Georgia Ford and some of the other journalists were recording the incident surrounding the pastor, boxing him in. And he showed a lot of grace in that moment. And this incident harkens to one of the allegations made by a government investigator who apparently drafted an unsworn affidavit stating that Georgia Ford used her camera as a weapon of intimidation, quote unquote. Now, the government didn't indict her for doing that, and the government said that that allegation could have used some editing. And here, Georgia Ford's attorney makes the point of saying that she was using a professional camera and microphone. Now, maybe the camera is one of those red branded cameras, which certainly could become a bludgeon in a pinch, I guess. But also, it's just a large object that could be used as a barricade. They had surrounded the pastor with these types of objects, and they stood there as well, maybe daring the pastor and all the churchgoers to lash out. Thankfully, there was no violence, and it's because of the pastor and churchgoers. They deserve the credit for de-escalating. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, leave a like, and don't forget to subscribe.